We're here with Ricky Rivers, NYCBasketball.com, Rudy King, live and direct at Baruch College. Mr. Rivers is the CEO of Junior Pros FunSport, doing this thing in big ways. You have no idea how big this is right now for middle school basketball. A lot of cats hate it, but I think they need to appreciate it more so than what they're doing. You know, Rick does a great job with this. Mr. Rivers, so what you know, coming into this championship situation, like how you feeling right now?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. You know what? This has been a great season. We go through this whole preseason process, 3 weeks of preseason, we roll over to another 5 weeks of the regular season. So it's about 8 weeks about it, and 8 to 10 weeks that you're working with these kids, building relationships with these kids, kind of getting to know them more than what you could do in a short AAU type of weekend. So I feel good about this. We usually land at the Madison Square Garden. Unfortunately this year with the renovations going on to the Garden, we couldn't be there. But what better home to me? This is like my second home here at Baruch College, man. Baruch College, man, live right here in the middle of Midtown, a few blocks from Madison Square Garden. I think these kids are going to be in for a real treat. When I'm at the Garden, you know, there's some restrictions, you know, for things that we can do or can't do in a short span of time. I think being here at Baruch allows me to do a lot more. So we're going to do a 7th grade showcase game, 8th grade showcase. We're going to do a top 24 game, which I didn't get to do last year. We're going to do it right now. So I feel very good about this, about what we're doing out here. And thanks to yourself and Tone and the team FunSport staff that we have. We got a good group of guys that's passionate just about doing the right thing for these young men, which makes the total package more rewarding.
No doubt about it. And I second that one on having the ability to really just be able to do what you really want to do. Because I was at the Garden a year before where Rick did it big, and though it was big, I know it was a lot of other things creativity-wise that he really wanted to do. Another thing I just wanted to touch on real quick was the fact that, like, what have you done to just make this what it is? Like, this is like everybody compares it to like the IS-8 of middle school basketball. I've even written some stories like that, but I think it's even bigger than that. To me, it's just because they're so young and getting this exposure at this time in their life. Like, what made you come up with this concept? Like, what was this all about?
You know, back in 2004 when I did this, you know, I did a lot of unlimited leads, and I wanted to kind of get into the youth thing, but I wanted to figure out how could I create it. I wanted to do something different than what was being done. IS-8 was the big show in town, and it was hard to kind of jump in there and compete against them right away. The one thing I seen that was missing, and I felt that and looking at it, youth basketball from the outside in, just kind of doing that research first, I was like, the kids need to be taught a little bit more. I grew up under Gil Reynolds like you did, and I know we practice and we learn more than we actually play, which seems to be the vice versa. I think those roles are reversed nowadays with you. And I wanted to kind of put something together and think it through to figure out how could I make an impression in this youth thing and come in and really do something to really affect the whole youth game. So I came up with this concept that we would do some teaching and playing at the same time. And you know, it started out small. It started out in the weekend league. It didn't start out with the teaching part. I know I had to roll the carrot out as a basketball tournament, kind of put great uniforms out there for them in the beginning because everybody wasn't doing tops and bottoms except for IS-8. So I kind of went in right away with the uniforms to kind of get the awareness going. I started right out of the gate with Team Next, with Deron Lamb, Tavon Sledge, Devontae Grace, and all those guys. So I had a good start to kind of get the whole thing going. And then from there, it was just adding different pieces. It's just adding a different piece each time. Like, you did this year, how can you improve and become better each time? You go from, we started out with about 12 teams. Now we're at the point where we have 36 teams. We started out just being local, now we're regional, and now national at this point. So it's a growth process. It's been you know, just a patience, whatever, and just kind of looking at how could you come better than what you did the last year. You know, right now I don't feel like I'm chasing anyone to be better than. I feel like I'm chasing myself to kind of say, how could I be better than I was last year? Just like as you was when you were playing, man. I had a 30-point game, had a good game last year. Let me get back in the gym. I ain't gonna settle for that, and I'm gonna try to see how can I improve myself in the next game. That's the same work ethic that I took into this thing.
And there's one last question. Well, first of all, before we get to that, I just want you to see how big this is. Take a look over there. Roll that camera over there real quick. It's not too many tournaments, man, that you're gonna go to in the middle school level when you get to the big show that you're gonna get blessed like this. So let's take advantage of that. But the last thing I want to ask you, we're gonna be coming back a little bit later with Ricky, is the academic portion. Like, a lot of cats, like with the academics, a lot of cats is faking with that and all that other situation. We're not gonna get into the reclass situation because we're gonna talk about that in a whole separate piece. But we're talking about just the academics and how you make these young men have to be accountable for their academic success. Otherwise, they can't play in the playoffs. What's up with that?
Yeah, you know, that's one thing, like I said, when I thought about how could I affect this game and how could I kind of show these kids at an early age what they need to do to kind of carry themselves. When I remember when we had this championship game, which held me stick to my guns, we had a championship game that was Team Next versus Brooklyn, USA, if I remember correctly. And there was a young man who I want to keep names. He's a McDonald All-American. He didn't show up to the championship game. I got patient with his report card, and I forfeited the championship game. Everybody there is a packed house. We had some top talent. You're talking like there was like 3, if I remember correctly, in that game. It's right now, because they've graduated on, there about 2 or 3 McDonald All-Americans were in that game. And I forfeited the championship game because of the report card. And from that point on, I couldn't turn back. And from that point on, when I made that decision, there was no turning back about what my principles were, what I was going to do in terms of my footprints in this game. And I think from that point, I just go. I think what I've been fortunate was to kind of get people like yourself who have the same passion and principles about wanting to do something positive to affect the game. I think that's all what I'm trying to do with this stuff thing. Is, hey, what you see here with the Nike shoe endorsements, those are all carrots to kind of keep these kids coming in to really kind of get your real ultimate point that you want to get to them. You want these guys to be qualified. You want these guys to be successful in life. If you wanted to be, if they were a basketball player, which I play ball, you play ball, you know that can take you through a lot of doors. And they got to come with the equipment. They got to come with the necessary things to kind of, when they get through those doors, because the air comes out of the ball at some point. What do you do when the air comes out of the ball? And hopefully that the things that we're teaching them at a young age right now, when they're still impressionable, when they're talented, when they're still impressionable, that they say, okay, you know what? You know, I was in FunSport and they had all this glitz and glam and they played at the Garden, but he wouldn't let me play unless I had my books in it. Or when he was at the championship game, there was this kid that was really good, but the kid that he gave the most shine to, I remember he gave the biggest award to, was that kid with the 99 average, and he wasn't even that good. So it's just those little things that I want to kind of do to kind of say, here, these are the things that are most important. Basketball is great. We love to celebrate your talents on the court, but we really want to see your achievements past that. So books before ball is the little model that we go by here.
Man, stop hating. NYC basketball, Ricky Rivers doing big things. Get on board, man. Get on board. Support more. Stop talking the negative, man. Man is doing a great job out here. Rudy King, NYC basketball. See you soon.
I'm feeling good. I'm playing with the best of the best.
That's a good thing. What was it like competing in the FunSport Junior Pro Tournament this year?
It was tough. They had a lot of tough teams. My report card was good. I could have played